Hello, welcome.
It's showtime.
All right, thank you for being a channel member. Salute to all the channel members, past, present, and future. Thank you. And also thank you to those who are subscribed and those who are finding me for the first time. Hopefully you subscribe and you click the bell, ding the dong, bang the bong, all that great stuff. And don't forget to thumb up the video, share everywhere, including your YouTube community tab.
Get your tea and your popcorn, because this is gonna be another good one.
We're doing a reaction video. I put a link to both of his videos in the description. Give him a subscribe and click the bell for him and thumb up the video, because this was a wealth of information with him interviewing the creators, both John Griffin and Jeff Pinkner, and also the director, who is Jack Bender. We're gonna start off with John Griffin and Jeff Pinkner. So I'm not going to play the stream. I think if you want to get the entire interview that E-Man did, I think you should go over there and give him the watch time and watch his commercials. I'm gonna give you the notes from what I saw, which is kind of like the meat and potatoes and the key takeaways. In their interview, when they were asked a question and when they gave an answer, whether the answer was yes or no, they gave an explanation. So most of the answers were not really yes or no, it was an explanation. And they gave a lot of information. And I'm glad they did. They didn't dodge any question. They didn't duck and dodge. They didn't try to dodge a fade or anything.
Slayer.
It was a really good interview. John and Jeff do seem like they are not just the creators of From, but they're also fans. And the same thing with the director. He seemed the same way talking about Jack Bender. He seemed the same way where he's a fan. And with them being fans of the work, it gave a really good interview for E-Man. Really great energy. There were answers or explanations that were given and not really any follow-up questions. Because I get it that E-Man probably only had them for maybe an hour, 30 minutes. He had a bunch of questions to fill up the time. And if you go down a rabbit hole of one explanation, it takes away from other stuff that may be important for his audience to know. And I'm sure that when the interview that was recorded went off, he had additional stuff he probably talked to him about as far as follow-up questions, and he'll probably do content about that. So definitely give him a subscribe and thumb up the video over there and support him, support everybody in the From community. I'm gonna just go through everything as far as the takeaways for John and Jeff's portion. Is the red thing in the cave painting Smiley Reborn? John said, stay tuned. In my opinion, stay tuned means it's a yes, and we're going to give you more on that in the show. So I will say this much. I think that E-Man was given all of the episodes 1 through 10 of season 3 weeks, maybe even a month before we all saw it live on MGM Plus or Amazon or wherever you saw it. So with that being said, a lot of the questions that were asked and answered were based off of maybe the season just starting or hadn't started yet. Because I do believe that the big red thing in the cave painting is Smiley Reborn. We more than likely saw that in the show. So to me, I'm going to say that it is Smiley Reborn. A lot of stuff that was said was based off of the show was currently airing episodes. E-Man got the entire 1 through 10 before rest of us, probably before the episode 1 of season 3 aired. And I think this interview may have taken place during that time, which is why a lot of questions he asked were not directly answered, but we saw it in the show. Second thing is there a scar on the man in the yellow suit's face? They said stay tuned. So I think that it is a scar on the face. That painting actually was painted by Jack Bender. And I do believe that it's still going to be Randall in the future, because the way that Randall has been kind of portrayed in season 3, he was betrayed by Boyd in his eyes, in my opinion. He's always been antagonistic since he showed up. He kidnapped and bound Donna. He was having an attitude with people. He did kind of connect with Julie, But when they went to the ruins, he asked to go back, and he was also harassed by the cicadas. So he's still dealing with the cicadas. And I think that those cicadas are going to end up taking him over and manipulating him. And that, in addition to the creatures torturing him and then putting him on top of the ambulance, I think is going to cause him to become the man in the yellow suit by making some type of deal with the evil side or the entity, which will turn him into the man in the yellow suit.
I didn't choose this life chose me.
Yeah, so I think Randall's going to be chosen to be the man in the yellow suit, or he's going to become that. And they said something interesting about the man in the yellow suit, and I'll kind of get to that later on. So they were asked, what does from mean? So I think, and E-Man has said that he believes that it's dealing with reincarnation. I believe that is who people come from. So they actually said, and I don't know if this is them kind of... we'll say trolling or not really wanting to answer something directly, but they said that it has no actual meaning, just like lost, but it could mean morph. So I did a video where I say that from could also be morph. It could be an anagram for something else. It could stand for something, but according to the creators, there's no actual meaning. And they did leave a lot of stuff, including the director, up to interpretation. And they did say that they've left breadcrumbs out there in terms of what may be an answer or maybe a clue or an Easter egg. However, a lot of things are not going to be addressed, as in they're not going to have a callback or an actual answer. A lot of stuff may not be answered by the end of the series. So you may see something such as where a lot of people were saying in Colony House that the TV had Jasper in it, or some type of picture that may be Jasper, or, you know, something Jasper related. Whereas I posted on my community tab, it's just someone drawing on the TV because for some reason the electronics or let's say the appliances can be powered by stuff like lamps. Like we saw Jade use the lamp to power the blow dryer. So a lot of stuff has power, but for some reason the TV doesn't. Or maybe the TV does have power, but there's no tower to give a signal, or there's no, I guess, cable wires for there to have something on the television. So a lot of Easter eggs and stuff that's in the background of scenes and different things that you and I may have noticed, they're more than likely nothing burgers. And they're not even going to address it as far as giving a definitive answer. It's almost like if you, as a viewer, as a fan, as a theorist, come up with an answer, you're not wrong. Fatima giving birth to Smiley was not planned. And that was crazy to hear, that they determined that the creatures were given eternal life because that was guaranteed. That's what they were promised. But they didn't know how to bring Smiley back. And they had Fatima give birth to Smiley on the fly.
You're out here doing the damn thing.
And they also said that a lot of stuff they're just making up on the fly. They don't really have all the details ironed out. And, you know, it is what it is. Another thing was that John Griffin on the left there, he does go to Reddit for inspiration and feedback for episodes. So a lot of stuff they've left as breadcrumbs where there's no actual answer. They don't have a way to answer it. If we as theorists and fans come up with an answer and it sounds good, they more than likely are going to incorporate that in the show. So it's one of those things where we're going to throw it out there. We want you to do the work. And I'm not putting them down for that. But because, you know, other shows do the same thing, even movies, when they do it with sequels, they do stuff that's called fan service. It's just surprising to hear that we as fans come up with, we're almost a part of the show. Like I've said before, we are a part of From. Perfect. They reveal things if opportunity presents itself, so not all mysteries will be shown to the characters and to us. Some answers will be in your face, some will not. They did say definitively that From is not purgatory, not a dream, and they are not deceased. They have the same trappings as Lost, but not a lot in common. I think they do have a lot of things in common. And I do agree that they still have connections to Lost, but it's not Lost. I think it's Lost 2.0. And until you tell me otherwise, that's what I'm going with.
You're damn right.
Boyd is the main character. We all know this. Okay, Boyd is the main character, and Harold, the show is pretty much based off around him as an actor and the character, even though they have other characters to play with. One big thing that came out was, this came from John Griffin, that the man in the yellow suit, his inspiration came from John Griffin being in LA, and he saw a man in a yellow suit dancing and filled with joy like an angel. And then he saw that same man later on, and the man looked like he failed a quest. That could be like Randall. Randall was going to see his nephew with a present, which was the drone. He ended up opening the drone and using it. So no more drone. And it's almost like because he's stuck in Fromville, he's failed a quest. That could be a yoga stretch. You could also say that Randall came and he was antagonistic. He was grumpy with people. When he finally decided to want to help people, when Boyd was on the bus and said he wanted to switch with Randall, I think at that point, Randall decided, I'm going to try to help people and be more of a team player. And then he was left by Boyd.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I think it's more reason why Randall could be the man in the yellow suit. Just looking at the character of the man in the yellow suit, he does appear to be somewhat sinister and someone who's failed and they've accepted their failure. I guess they could be kind of like that, like a chip on their shoulder, so to speak. But I think it could be Randall. You all might be like, no, it's a fairy, it's this or that. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but they've confirmed, and I'll go through my notes later on and let you know, that all of the From mythology is original.
Uh-oh, stinky.
So that means the man in the yellow suit more than likely is not even based off the man in yellow. And then people were saying that the creatures are fairies or fae. That might be a disappointment by the end of the series. I digress. So Victor is their favorite character, followed by Ethan. Jade was originally going to be an 18-year-old girl, but they decided to change that when conceptualizing what it would be like for an 18-year-old girl going around solving mysteries and being a reincarnation. They ended up making Jade an older man. From is based off of original mythology. They do read message boards, i.e. Reddit. The jukebox songs that Fromville plays, or jukebox songs on the jukebox, they're Fromville's way of expressing emotions. They confirmed that Sarah did not have worms in season 1. When she saw Kill the Boy on her arm, those were her veins. They confirmed monsters do eat organs and drink blood, which, I mean, why would they have blood on their mouth? And they have claws on their hand that can unalive people. So to have blood on their mouth would signal that they're consuming blood, just like how Fatima consumed blood from the deceased woman that Acosta accidentally shot. Tabitha is Miranda and not Eloise. When they discussed that, at that point, I realized this interview more than likely took place maybe before season 3 was officially aired. And for them to have to say that when we all saw that from the show, it is what it is. Even at this point could have pressed them to say, okay, is Eloise alive or not? If he would have asked that, I'd have been like, okay, that's what we want to know. A lot of people want to know about Eloise. They want to know more about the creatures and Smiley being reborn, and they want to know about the man in the yellow suit. And also about chapter walking, which they call story walking. People kind of want to know those things after watching season 3. He didn't really give any follow-up questions publicly. Maybe he did so privately, and he'll have like a follow-up video for that. So definitely subscribe to his channel and give him a thumb up. Tell him I sent you. That way, in case he does have a follow-up question, if he did talk to him about it offline, or if he has another interview with them, we all will be able to see it at the same time or whenever it comes out, if it comes out. Last but not least, the monsters can run, but choose not to, because they're going to get you eventually and they're taking their time. So we saw season 3 that Smiley did run, maybe even sprint towards Miranda. And that to me means that going to the faraway tree at nighttime could be how you go home or go somewhere where you're leaving Fromville, which is the reason why Smiley had ran and caught her. So that was interesting. And Smiley might even be the leader. For Smiley to be kind of the first one to confront Boyd when Boyd was saying, when he had the worms and was like, hey, come get me, I'm right here. For Smiley to be the one to go out there to confront Boyd, and then for Smiley to be the one to attack Miranda, to me means that Smiley might even be the head honcho or the leader creature. All right, so that is all for that portion with John, Griffin, and Jeff Pinkner as far as the key takeaways.